Welcome back, friends. You're here with Crystal, that is I, from Crystal Clear Coaching. Here we like to tune into you, or cultivate understandings and learnings, and just ask good questions as to how to tune for you to tune into you. But I'll share how I tune into me and things I've learnt as a coach, as a certified holistic coach, and just human being with life experiences around the world, and different careers and all sorts. Yeah, anyway, I am here helping you tune into you. And this is the most important thing, because you're the most important person in your life. It will always be that way, and often we are conditioned and then take on board this idea that we're not allowed to put ourselves first. We treat ourselves like we're one of the less important people in our lives. And that is a travesty. That's outrageous. I mean, come on. You're you. Who else is going to be with you your entire life? I don't care how good their friend they are, how aligned they are. If you live together, you've known each other since birth, that you're gonna have somewhere in your lives where things fork off, and maybe they come back together, but they are not you. Even if you had an identical twin, looks exactly the same as you, goes through your whole life, one was still technically born first, and there's dynamics that come into play just from that, a lot of them subconscious, some of them energetic, some of them might sound woo-woo, but honestly, from my work learning about family systems and family constellations, it makes sense. It makes sense because we're also just societal conditioning and learning about the world as well. Naturally, there'll be nuances to how each of those people are treated, and we will that will lead to them having a different perspective and a slightly different life, even if they are pretty similar. They'll have different interests that crop up because one was in one class one day and one was in another class, and one learned about something that they really got into and they told the other one about it and they just went into it, and then their paths just fork off a little bit, which is great. We want to celebrate our unique sovereign selves. But yeah, my point is, you are the most worthy person in your life for you to celebrate, to hold space for, to cultivate, to lift up. And so I just invite you to notice with curiosity. We're always about being curious over here. If you are not doing that, or you feel like you're not making time for it enough, maybe you do it in small ways, but you just feel like, oh, I've actually kind of been putting everyone else first a little bit too much lately. And yeah, I mean, sometimes, yeah, honestly, shout out to my parents. If you're in a season of life where it's just feeling impossible to put yourself first in any way, shape, or form, that's okay for a season. Just know this too shall pass. And I'm not coming at you from some high horse because I don't have kids. But my point is, I've learnt from parents that have shared this and how hard it's been for them. So yeah, sometimes there might be a period, maybe you'll have an angel child and you'll still manage to get time in, small pockets of time for yourself around what is still a big, huge commitment. And it's all welcome. But yeah, even if you can just crowbar in half an hour to yourself, even 10 minutes to yourself a week, I'm sure that'll make a good difference for you. I just changed scenery as my flatty got home. So fun times. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, you're the most important person in your life, so treat yourself accordingly, please. And I'm looking in the mirror right here telling myself that too, because I keep putting off things for me and dreaming of some external thing to come like save me. And that's not very empowering. And like logically and like consciously I'm trying not to do that. But she's sneaky, subconscious, you know, our conditioning. And we can easily just keep trucking along by the subconscious patterns of, you know, putting the things outside of ourselves first. And look, there are important things that are external in your life, totally. But yeah, you're not going to be able to help them if you don't, you know, fill yourself up first. I mean, like long term, like once or twice you can put something else first, like totally. But if it becomes a habit, it's going to lead to burnout eventually. If you're not finding the time to look after your own needs, you know. But also, yeah, as much as it's beautiful to hunt for, that's dangerous wording there. To seek out like a romantic love or a friendship, a bestie that's gonna, you know, help hold you when you don't feel like you can hold yourself, or kind of, you know, just be there to be a sounding board. It's like, well, I know it's not as fun. It's great when you have that bestie or that partner there to properly hold space for you. And you can also have these discussions with yourself. And you can do that in the ways of maybe you need to just voice note yourself. Or, you know, record yourself. Like, it's actually been really cathartic for me to make these videos daily, because there's things that I say and I'm like, oh, that was on my mind. And now I've put it out into the world. Like, even if it was just a video that just I recorded and I rewatched, like, it helps me. The idea with these videos is that they help you, whoever you are, beautiful person, also watching this. And I think it's so easy to just want somebody to save us. I mean, a lot of, you know, movies growing up, I mean, Disney, just, you know, especially for women, we're just, you know, taught to just wait for someone to save us. And like a damsel in distress, you know, look for your worth externally. Only when a man says you're worthy are you going to be worthy. And I feel like there's a semblance of that would have happened for men as well. Where, you know, only when a woman chose them would they feel worthy. And like, that's not okay with me. Everybody is a worthy person. They just need to be born and they're worthy. And look, there are some evil adjacent characters in the world lately that makes me feel like, ooh, they're not showing up as worthy right now. But when they were born, they were worthy. They've made choices that deeply sadden and disgust me. But also, if we just keep othering people, but like we're just gonna divide ourselves more. And trust me, I can go on raging tirades about certain political characters in the world right now. But yeah, I'm listening to a book called A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson, who is a brilliant spiritual author and teacher. And I'm actually going to see her this Sunday. She's in Brisbane, so going up there to see her. And yeah, this part that I just heard, she talks about how, you know, even like Hitler, you know, how we still need to like find a way to return to love within, well, that's the name of the book, yeah, Return to Love. Return to love, because these people that show up in these evil ways, that they've not been shown love, and maybe like legitimately they'll never receive love and they'll never get it, and they'll just keep acting from whatever wounds created the monsters that they've become. And maybe it was a full-on learned behavior that just, and maybe they're, you know, straight up I don't know, possessed. I don't know, because like some of it is just so dark, what's been coming out in the Epstein files, that yeah, it's making me question lots. But no, I'm not going to let them take away my core belief that everyone is a whole human being with sovereign rights, and that is born worthy. And if they've done something that needs to be held accountable for, they have the right to their own consequences. If they want to continue to show up as a worthy person, they cannot ignore the consequences of their own actions. They cannot hurt others continually, again and again and again, without the consequences of those actions. And some just keep doing it, and they'll never learn, and they are not showing as a worthy person. And I also don't think we should throw those people into like jail in the way that it's been set up in, you know, modern times. I think we need to have rehabilitation centres that, yes, they are imprisoned, but in a way that we're not throwing the person out, just locking them up, throwing away the key, and having that person, like, and honestly, some people, they've done such evil that maybe they can't come back in this lifetime. But that's the consequences of the actions. So, but I have the most respect for anyone that has done something horrible or bad, or that's hurt someone, that actually, I mean, maybe not heinous, but also within reason, and they've actually actively been working towards repairing that hurt that they've caused, and some of it will be irreparable. But for them to truly understand the pain they caused and truly do the work to remedy whatever they can, and, you know, show remorse and show growth and personal healing for themselves so that they will never do that again, and then help teach others that may have gone down a similar path to them, like, how it's not the way, you know, like, there's got to be, yeah, I don't know, I really didn't want to talk about these kind of people today. I don't know how I got onto this. What I actually wanted to talk about was our self-sovereignty. So sovereignty, it's like you think of a sovereign country, for instance, like a sovereignty is being whole and complete within itself. So self-sovereignty within ourselves is being whole and complete within ourselves. And that's such a beautiful term. I love it, because we are whole and complete within ourselves, and a lot of society and, you know, our training is taught, like back to the Disney films, that we've got to look for being whole and complete outside of ourselves. But no, you already are. You're already whole and complete. Even if you've, you know, lost a finger, lost a hand, lost a leg, you are still a whole and complete worthy person. And this is what I wanted to get to. Gone off on tangents, I'm very good at that. Yeah, so I recently shared that there was a bit of a romantic disappointment in my life recently. And like, part of me, you know, has that inclination that I've been taught by society to be like, justified that I was right and I should have been like respected and talked to sooner or whatever, and like all this should have happened a different way from the other person's like actions. And maybe like, yes, that could have been great or whatever, but also I can see, like, I took the time, and I always take the time with people. Like, the beauty of being a coach is that I really can see other people's perspective. I mean, at least from my perspective, we all can, but like, just understanding like the kind of sacrifice that this person would have had to probably make in their own life in order to have even considered pursuing anything with me was just actually kind of bonkers, and a very scary thing to consider. And I mean, also kind of back from me as well, that goes two ways, but I mean, I wasn't trying to put that pressure on it anyway, but like, I can see that that person is a whole complete wonderful human being, and I clearly appreciated that about them, otherwise I wouldn't have felt disappointed that it didn't work out, but I'm happy for them, whatever their self-sovereign choices are, as what they deem is right from their perspective in their life. I just think, like, yeah, who am I to say that my perspective was better than theirs? I don't know their perspective, not the nuances of it. I might have an idea from my perspective, but there's plenty I don't know. And it can be very easy for like friends to be like, oh, screw them, don't go there, whatever. Yeah, I get that, and sometimes it's justified. Sometimes there is like assholes that have been cheating on people and, you know, all sorts, and made promises that just never got to anything. But like, really, this wasn't that situation. This was me being hopeful and overthinking a situation, wanting the whimsy of what the situation could have been romantically for me. I love a bit of whimsy, a bit of crazy fun times, a little bit of a different character, and I get very bored if it's someone that is just feels like like kind of a basic person, like they could be a basic person and work at a bank, but if they got the whimsy and they get the humour and the weirdness and like in the fun ways, then, you know, I'll be into it. But I don't know, I tend to pick people that are unavailable in the areas that I'm in, because I've had this stupid story that people around near me aren't that exciting, but I'm sure that's not true. I've met plenty of wonderful friends that appreciate me and my whimsy and my chaos, and I appreciate their whimsy and their chaos, and they have been in the places that I have been in. So, you know, just calling myself a little bit. But my point is, what if when a relationship doesn't go the way that we want and somebody, you know, dips, what if we just saw them as that self-sovereign person, that worthy person, that, you know, they had all their stuff going on and it didn't align with our stuff. Even if it aligned from our perspective, if it didn't align for them, like, we've got to take that feedback. And can we still hold space and hold, you know, adoration and appreciation for that person without making it about us? Like, and like, I'm not gonna say don't feel sad about, like, have your grief, have your moment, but like, just, you know, give yourself, I don't know, 24 hours, depending how long the situation's been going on for, you know, up to 24 hours to kind of sit with that and deal with that, and then you know, and then invite in, well, what was their perspective that this felt unaligned for them, and just find a way to wish them well. And like depends on the time frame, however long, whatever's been going on or not going on. You know, you'll be able to discern what time frame is right for you. But yeah, I just feel so much better after really feeling into what's right for this person, and I wish all the best for them, truly. And part of me wants to, part of me wanted to be dramatic and kind of, you know, cut off all contact and all that, and then I'm just like, no, like, it's kind of like, well, from a feminist standpoint, I have loved the realization, well, not loved and hated it. There is this kind of conversation going around about how men feel friend zoned by women, and then they so like these women think they've got a legitimate friend out of a male friend, and then they find out that they liked them, but then like basically they share that they have feelings, and then the woman, if they're not into it, just feels like, oh, I'm just a sexual being to them, like I'm just a place well, and like this is when, like, only this caveat's very important, it's when they're treated then like thereafter, if they reject them and say, look, like, I don't see that like that, that's not what I'm interested in, I love you as a friend, and then their reaction is to be like, oh, that bitch, like, and then just completely see them as like not treat them as a human anymore, even though they were so friendly until it became sexual for them. But it's really always been them just trying to get in their pants, and then like when they turn, it's like when their feelings are rejected. And meanwhile, the woman was just like, oh, a lovely friend. Oh, it's so nice to have a friend. And like, I'm not going to say there's not times where both of them see each other and they realise they both have romantic feelings for each other. Great. But there's also times when a man might take that and be like, okay, that's gutting. I still appreciate you as a person. I might need to take time for myself to be away from you. But I would like to be friends online, or maybe it's just the way to respect myself is to actually cut off communication, but I still really appreciate you as a person, and I'm sorry that I feel the need to do this for myself. Like, that's all fine, like, but I just hate this idea that men and women can't be friends. It's like we're all human beings, but like, how much does that stem from? Just, I don't know, from a feminist standpoint, I just kind of feel like sometimes it's just that when women set a boundary and it's not respected, we just lose faith that any dude could like us just as a friend, like, and just be a friend. And look, I'm really talking about a small portion of men here, but it just seemed to resonate with a lot of women online, so this is why I share it. But I also wonder what's going on for the man that makes friends with a woman just to try and get in there romantically, because they're not, like, maybe they met in a way that he was trying to get in there romantically, but it didn't quite work out, or didn't have the confidence, and then he finally gets up the confidence, and then she's just actually not interested, and like, that's okay, she gets to choose what feels right for her. But then when he flips and like makes it like she's being evil to him because she just doesn't feel that, that's what makes me sad. But I'm like, what's going on for that person, that, like, that man, that they can't see that anybody that like what's the hurt that's under that? I mean, like, what is the patterns that has them say, well, if they're not interested in me in that way, then they can't be someone worth having in my life at all. Or like I don't actually care about any of their things, their hobbies that I pretended to care about. Like it's when there's kind of a level of pretending that happens with this. I feel like I'm not explaining this as well as I wanted to. But just know that it resonated with more women than just I. So anyway. But yeah, I just like, I want to, find space to respect myself within what I'm feeling. And if being around someone or having them on my social media or whatever becomes a little too much and I feel like I'm just struggling to find that energy to respect myself first around that, then that's good feedback for me to like choose to not have someone on my like socials or whatever, and not have contact. That's like totally fine. But because what I'm talking about was not a relationship. It was me hoping. It was a big crush, but it was a big dirty fucking crush. Anyway, so like it's a lot of it's just been in my head. And I know some of it was real, but a lot of it's been in my head. And so not having like part of me is like, there's nothing that's really happened that can like, other than my thoughts about it, that means that this person couldn't be a friend. But I just need to keep checking with myself that I feel like I'm respecting my own boundaries and respecting myself. Because if that changes, then, I will just bow out of the social media side of things with them. But it's hard because I care about them. And just because that care is not received romantically, that doesn't mean that I stop caring about them. And like part of me is like, well, what if I just let myself have a moment to rectify in my head that moving from romantic to friend zone, and maybe I will find that that's actually a wonderful place to be, and we'll be friends, and because it was mostly shit I built up in my head, like I'll have that disconnect between the real person and their interactions with me and what I made up, or what I embellished, let's say. The beautiful curse, blessing and a curse, bliss you could call it, of being a coach is that you believe in everyone's best and highest as discerned by them. And I'm talking about coaches that go real deep and not the like, oh, I make $10,000 in a month and like great, there's probably people doing that, making the money that do it from heart and soul. But sometimes I feel like the coaching industry can sound a little insidious and a little bit like uncaring, which is crazy because the way I was taught to be a coach, it's like the most deeply caring space you could hold for someone to go into their depths, and I just know each person is just doing the best they can with what they got. And if it doesn't align with you, like, it doesn't need to be personal, and you can still, like, I do think there is space to be friends. Yeah, as long as you're able to discern and check in with yourself again and again. And there is times where someone has straight up just treated you badly and you don't need that energy in your life, and you just think, you know what, that's a no from me. It doesn't necessarily need to be like super bad, but if it's just like that energy just gave you the ick by the end of it, that's okay to choose to not have them in your life. But this is not that situation. So yeah, anyway, I've overshared way too much again. really hope that person isn't watching these, but if they are, well, you know where I'm at, and that's also funny. Hashtag friendship. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. But yeah, let's all just treat each other as self-sovereign, worthy, whole, and complete like human beings. And if somebody's done something that hurts you, consider their perspective, and maybe that wasn't the intention. Maybe it was just how it was perceived through your lens. They were just doing what they felt was best for them, and maybe it was something that they needed. There was something you felt like they should speak to you to respect you, but like maybe not. If they had spoken it, it would have been more hurtful in a way, or like it could have felt more confronting, whereas almost not speaking it, even if they did feel something, like was actually just a safer route. I mean, having said that, can we just speak our feelings, man? Like, I don't, like, honestly, I don't, like, I might have a hot little moment to take the information on, but like, I'm someone that has done so much work on myself, so much personal development work, that like I'm gonna come around. I'm gonna see the other person's perspective. I'm gonna appreciate them for sharing what they were truly feeling with me, and actually have I'll have more respect for them for not just ghosting the situation. And even if it's a person that like I've only talked to a handful of times, I really do strive to, even if I like met someone off a dating app like once or twice, and I wasn't feeling it, I try and like at least have that conversation to say, look, this wasn't aligned for me, but it was lovely to meet you and wish you all the best, like just a respectful way of saying like, thanks for your time and energy, rather than have you consider why I stopped texting back. I'm just gonna tell you, it's gonna feel hard at the moment, but it will be less hard than being dragged along and then wondering like in the coming days, weeks, months, like what happened to that, like, and then bumping into them and having it all pulled up again, or just like breadcrumbing yourself through their social media, which is just the worst. Anyway, okay, I've got to stop talking. Love you guys. Please just like, let's just fill ourselves up first and put ourselves first, because we're the best person in our lives. Yeah, okay, thanks, bye.